Hello. I would like to welcome Hugh Easterbrook, who is standing as an independent candidate in the constituency of Hampstead and Kilburn on the Smarter Brexit platform.
Thank you, Katie. Hi.
This is perhaps a silly question, but did you vote in the referendum?
Well, I'm afraid I didn't, as my mother was unfortunately taken ill that day, and I had to leg it pretty fast up to the hospital in Great Yarmouth.
I'm sorry to hear that. How would you have voted if you'd been able to?
Well, strange though this may seem, I was a bit torn. Amongst my friends, I was really probably the only one who expressed any empathy for the Brexit case. And I would say that this is perhaps why, to some extent, I understand both sides of the argument.
That's a bit of a surprise. Why was Brexit appealing to you?
Well, I just had difficulty getting my head around the European project. There's 28 countries in the EU, of which 19 are in the Euro, and they want or are being pushed towards political union. The Euro appears to be having a very negative consequences on certain economies, and those not in the Eurozone don't appear to have a clear plan or status. But I guess for me, the main purpose of the EU for Britain was free trade. But really, I just couldn't really make sense of the project.
So what made you change your mind?
Very simple. Economics. I think that the costs will be huge. There'll be immense disruption. I just think in terms of government focus, it's a huge, huge effort. And that in the end, the actual gains will be modest. And, I think there's going to be long and brutal negotiations that will affect our relationships. In short, I don't think it's going to be worth the candle.
So what did you think of the result then?
Well, like everyone, I was surprised. I thought the economic case was so clear, and that the sort of positive case for leaving was not particularly strong, that it would be a fairly easy victory for the Remain campaign. But what I would say about the referendum, and I think this is really important, is that it gave people a chance to express their anger about a whole number of really important issues, and I think it's vital that this is not forgotten in the whole sort of Brexit excitement.
So in your opinion, what were these important issues behind the Leave vote?
Well, I think there were 4, possibly 5. The top of the list, probably, that was sort of the most echoed across the country was immigration, but I think sovereignty, democracy, pressure on public services, which is sort of linked to immigration, I think, and then economic exclusion, and then possibly there was the sort of control over our money point.
Are these issues all related to the EU?
Well, it's difficult to say, but I would argue that the link in a lot of the cases is a bit tenuous. Look, there are some arguments linking it to the EU, but I think generally the EU has suffered a bit as a scapegoat for a whole panoply of problems. The important thing, though, going forward, I think, is to each issue that emerged in the vote. It's really important to analyse what it is, what really is causing it, and hopefully to provide some solutions. And those solutions may or may not be Brexit related. And certainly, if Brexit costs the country dear, which I believe it will, I just think it's going to be very hard with a poorer economy to deal with many of these issues.
Right, well, thank you very much for answering my questions.
My pleasure.
It was lovely meeting you.